Here 3 weeks ago, we had the people get baptized 3 weeks ago on our celebration Sunday, and they all had these T-shirts on. I don't know if you remember them. It says, "I have decided," and my friend has decided that she is going to live for Christ, no matter the cost. She has decided, because the story of the gospel is not just theory to her. It's actually changed her life. And so she's going to share a little bit of her story with us today. And so I want you to welcome my friend Emily Mondell up here. Yes. I want you to welcome my friend Emily. She's dying. She's just like, yeah, you didn't know I was going to put a picture up there, but you look so cute, I had to. Here you go, babe. So give her one more hand. This is my friend Emily. So Emily is graduating Radford University in like 3 weeks. Yeah. Senior in college. Amazing person. Like, I'm going to start crying already. I know.
I cannot.
Emily grew up believing in Jesus. Great family. Grew up in the church. And I want to pick up your story, Emily. When did you start to just kind of drift away from your faith?
Yeah. So for me, it was really hard to tell. I guess just because you don't get to that point. You're like, hey, I'm not really being obedient anymore. Nobody really has that. It's just you kind of get to a certain point. And you're like, hey, I've kind of lost my way a little bit. For me, it was probably around the beginning of high school. I wasn't hanging around bad people, and the people are great, and I still hang out with them, but it was more or less that they weren't being obedient, and then I thought that was normal. I was still going to church and everything, but I just thought it was oh, this is acceptable, this is normal, my friends are doing it, why would everybody else be doing it if this wasn't normal for me to be doing it? So it was probably around the beginning of high school that I started veering off into just wrong things.
So beginning of high school, so then come to college, and talk about a little bit about the temptations that you faced at college and still face as a college student.
Yeah. So, obviously, most of us here have been to college. So we know, obviously, the stereotypical college stories, just the excessive drinking, and then the random normalcy of hookups and just stuff like that. Obviously, that was really evident, and anybody who goes to Radford knows that that's a really big party community, and every college is, but obviously having to battle through that, and obviously I fell to a lot of those things, and that took a lot for me to get back up from those, but it made me stronger. But I know that it's not just me that has to deal with that. It's everybody else that I go to school with too, that I see that they deal with these things. So.
Yeah. So then what happened about a year ago, before we became Facebook friends? What happened about a year ago in your life? What were the circumstances? What did God do?
Yeah, so I just had gone through a really tough season a couple months before that, and my roommate, Mallory, at the time, she always left on Sundays, and I never really asked her, hey, where are you going? But one day I decided, I was where do you go on Sunday mornings? You're just, gone for a couple hours, and you come back, and, you look really nice when you leave. So she was I go to church. And I was like, what? You go to church? And she was like, yeah. And she was like, you should come with me. So me and then all my roommates came. Mallory brought us. And just even before that, every time I would just step foot into a church during worship, I would just feel serious conviction. I'd be a mess, just crying. So I was trying to keep it together during worship when Mallory brought me, so my friends didn't think I was crazy, or anybody here that had just been coming for the first time. But so I came with Mallory, and that obviously changed everything for me. I ended up leaving that service, and obviously there was something on my heart that was really important. They played the song Reckless Love of God, which I'm sure that a lot of you guys know. And I don't think that I knew the extent of the impact that song would have on my life. I really wasn't listening to it, I guess, for what it was. I thought it was a good song, but I left Sunday, and I had a really rough week. I don't really remember what happened. I just remember, like, it was not a good week for me. Probably just stressed out with exams, school, and then, just everything that has to be stressful in your life. I just got in my car. I usually, I listen to Christian music, but it wasn't, anything. I had it, set on my radio station at that time, and that song came on, and I just lost it. Because at that moment, I just, seriously, sat there, and I listened to it, and I don't know if you guys know about it, but the preamble of Lost Sheep basically talks about how this shepherd, or Jesus, he has 100 sheep, and 99 of them are here, but one of them has been lost, and Jesus goes out, and he goes and looks for that lost sheep, because, one sinner coming back home is more than just a bunch of righteous, perfect people. That's more of a celebration. And I was that one sheep, and that was really important. Sorry. So yeah, that was obviously the turning point in my life where I was like, hey, I've got to make changes. I'm not living an obedient life for God, and that was not where I wanted to be. So yeah, that was kind of the beginning of that.
Yeah. And wait, she's not done! She's not done! She's got, amen. So, how is your life different now? That was a year ago.
Yeah.
You had this experience. How's your life different?
It's completely different. I just try to be an overall happier person. I am an overall happier person. My life has changed. I'm not afraid to step out and be like, hey, this is my story, or you guys should come to church with me, or just random things that I would never expect me to do. For example, I was telling you, just one night I walked into a fraternity house, and there was somebody's mom who was there, and she was talking to me, and she had a lot of stuff on her heart, and I was like, can I pray for you? A year ago I never would have even thought about doing that, or even done that. So just I just try to be this light, and just a good person, so that when I'm around people, and even if they don't believe, that they see that there's something about me and the goodness of my heart, and that's not me. Yeah. I am being that light for God, but Amen. They see that that's something else, and that's Jesus. So.
Amen. I don't know how many of y'all have brought a prayer meeting to a fraternity house, but my friend Emily has, and my last question for Emily is, why in the world are you willing to get up here in front of all these people, in front of a bunch of your sorority sisters and your family? Why are you willing to get up here today and share your story?
Yeah, so just what we've been talking about this morning, I believe that there's people that need to hear my story, because my story might be somebody else's story, or they might be at that point where I was at a year ago, when they were really needing to take that leap of faith, but they were too scared, or they were just nervous to just walk out and be like, all right, Lord, this is going to cost me relationships, this is going to cost me friendships, this is going to cost me so many things, and just to know that it's okay, and that God will put favor in your life, and that he will continue to work with you. So just dive in.
Yeah.
Just dive in.
Now you can give her a huge hand.